Hey everybody, it's Gomedex and welcome back to another Ravnica Allegiance ranked draft. Let's see what we've got in our opening pack and see if we can draft something cool today. We've got Incubation Druid. It seems like a pretty fun rare. It's a mana dork in the early game, and then later on it actually turns into a 3/5, which is a pretty decent stat line in terms of just the average creature in the set. Obviously it fights up against stuff like Rakdos Firewheeler quite well. I do like the Druid quite a bit. I like just the versatility of ramping into your bigger cards, and then when you have that extra mana and nothing to do with it, having a decently sized aggressive creature on the board, or I guess more defensive than aggressive just because of the higher toughness, but still, 3/5 is a decent sized beater, so I do like that card quite a bit. There are certainly other cards in here that would be decent as well. Code of Constraint is pretty great in the Azorius decks. Gives you a pretty big tempo advantage. You're slowing down your opponent's creature, drawing a card, no matter when you play this, and if you play it during your turn, they don't get to get their next turn's attack out of it. So that's pretty good. Bedeck Bedazzle is still in this pack, which means they took some uncommon. There are quite a few really good uncommons in the set, but Bedeck Bedazzle is pretty fun. I suppose, yeah, this isn't the most powerful rare ever. It just looks really cool. I mean, you see that Bedazzle artwork and you're like, ooh, this has got to be a super powerful card. But it's not really, I suppose. It's just a mediocre removal spell, -3 toughness at instant speed. So what do we have to go with Incubation Druid here? If we're sticking to Incubation Druid, we would want to be in Gruul or Simic, so green-blue or green-red. And there are two really powerful cards in both of those colors. They're actually vying for most powerful card in the pack, period. And those are Scorchmark and Chillbringer. Both of those are quite good. Chillbringer taps down your opponent's creature and keeps it tapped for another turn, so it's good on the offensive or defensive, and it's a 3/3 flyer. And Scorchmark is just a cheap instant speed bit of damage. I think I'm going to roll with Chillbringer here. I think Chillbringer and Scorchmark are pretty comparable. Scorchmark's probably a little bit better. However, I did just play Gruul in the last draft video, and I'd like to mix things up, maybe try something a little different. I like Daggercaster, but as I've said before, Daggercaster is something I only really want to play in Rakdos, because in Rakdos you can get Bladebrand and Instant Speed Combat Trick to give something Death Touch, which with those two cards together, your Daggercaster can wipe your opponent's entire field. Outside of Rakdos, like if you're just in a Gruul deck, Daggercaster is just okay, because it can clear out your Rakdos or Orzhov opponents' creatures, because your Orzhov opponents are going to have a bunch of little 1/1 flying tokens, and your Rakdos opponents could have a bunch of 1/1 little Footlight Fiends and stuff like that. Out of this pack, I think I'm just going to take the best green common in the set, Soraform Hybrid, 2 mana for a 2/2, and in the late game, it turns into your 6 mana 6/6, so it's just really nice at both points, and it's definitely better than Skitter Eel, which is probably the next best card in our colors. Nothing that great in Simic there. Yet again, nothing great in Simic. Fairy Duelist is very playable, though. It's definitely fine. Rebel Belt Recluse as well. I think the picks between those two, we could also take a Gruul Guildgates. I kind of want to just run with Rebel Belt Recluse. I like this card a lot, maybe too much, but that stat line for that mana cost is just very impressive, even with the attacking each turn. Drawback, that's what you want to be doing with this card the vast majority of the time anyway. Pretty much the only times that's bad is if you're at a very low life total and you need to hold it up as a blocker, or your opponent just has like a 1/1 Death Toucher on the board. But most of the time, the Recluse has very little drawback for just a 5 mana 6/5, so the card's pretty cool. And I think I'm actually going to take it over Fairy Duelist here, because I do like it enough more than the Duelist that I'm okay with it not going with the Simic build we have so far. And now that I have Rebel Belt Recluse, we're technically just as Gruul as we are Simic right now, so we could really take any card we want out of here. Rendhorn would keep us open to going Simic or Gruul. One of the strategies you can employ when drafting Ravnica Allegiance is to stick to just one color, like primarily stick heavily to green here. That way, later on, if I open a good Gruul or Simic rare, that's when I can like decide on which guild I'm actually going. But I feel like Rendhorn's not that great, and I like Collision Colossus quite a bit. 2 2 mana for +4/+2 and trample at instant speed, is one of the few combat checks I actually really like playing, and it gives you defense against flyers, which is something that green definitely struggles with on the collision half, so I like that card a lot, and I'm okay with taking the Gruul card there. And it's working out because Savage Smash is pretty fantastic removal, just very efficient and exactly what you want to be doing in Gruul. You're paying 3 mana to give a creature +2/+2 and have it fight a creature you don't control, so you're getting a blocker out of the way and buffing up your power to do some more damage when you swing in the turn you play this. So really nice card there. There's a Daggercaster. There's like a million Daggercasters going around right now. But yeah, I'd say Daggercaster would be the second best card there. Out of this pack, we have a Gruul Guildgate or a Gravelhide Goblin. Both filler cards. You're basically never going to end up cutting a Gravelhide Goblin, so it's definitely fine. It's definitely a playable, but I think I want to roll with the Guildgate over that. Just get some good mana fixing out of the way. Mirror March is a choice that you can make. I don't think that it's particularly competitive or great, but it's a really fun card, so if you're just trying to screw around and do interesting, fun things, Mirror March could be the pick for you. I'm just going to take a Gruul Guildgate because I am a coward. Here we have Gruul Beastmaster or Rubblebelt Runner. I suppose there's also a Locket and a Feral Maca, but these are both very mediocre in my opinion, especially the Maca. Definitely between these three at worst. I think I want the Beastmaster here the best. This can come out as a 4-mana 3/3. Whenever it attacks, it gets another creature you control gets +X/+O, where X is its power, so it helps push in a lot of damage. It essentially does twice as much damage as it has power because you're spreading its power around to other creatures. So it's a cool card, and I suppose we can pick up another one. Do I want that over another Recluse? Probably. I think we can expect to see more Rubblebelt Recluses later on in the packs than Beastmasters. There's definitely the option of considering the Burning Tree Vandal, because this is one of the better 3-drops. It's quite nice. It lets you filter away if you're getting flooded, you're discarding all of your lands and trying to draw into better stuff, or if you're getting mana screwed, discarding your expensive stuff like Rubblebelt Recluses, trying to draw lands. So Vandal's definitely pretty good, but again, it's a common. I expect to see a lot of them. I'm hoping that we can pick some of those later, and this is an incredibly late Scorchmark, so I'm very happy about that. So it turns out we just got to get the Chillbringer and the Scorchmark out of that pack, so that's pretty cool. We're definitely getting to a point where we're highly unlikely to play the Chillbringer. It's not a card I'm super interested in splashing. I'm not going to run any of those three, so I suppose I'll take the Simic Locket. It definitely helps make splashing a possibility. I don't love any of this. These are both pretty mediocre. Spear Spewer, I wouldn't even really play Spear Spewer unless you have a lot of Spectacle going on in our deck, and since we're only in one of the two Spectacle colors, we're not in Rakdos, where we would have all the black and red Spectacle cards, I'm probably just not going to play it, because I don't think I'll have enough Spectacle to trigger with it. Well, we just got a blue Mythic Rare. It's a really powerful card too, isn't it? Let's see. 5 mana for a 4/5, create 2/0/2 illusion creatures that say, whenever this creature blocks a creature, that creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. And it has hexproof as long as you control one of those. That is pretty strong. But it's double blue, and double blue is really pretty hard to splash. When you're splashing cards, you really want cards that only take like one of their color requirements. I don't think I'm going to end up splashing in that Benthid. I think I'm just going to scoop up this Burning Tree Vandal here. That being said, it's possible I can take the Benthid and just wheel the Vandal. But there's not a lot of red cards in this pack, so they'll probably get picked over pretty quickly. I don't know about this. I'm going to take the Mesmerizing Benthid, and the worst that can happen is that the pack wheels, I don't get anything out of that pack. At the absolute worst, I'm still getting 40 gems by getting a 5th copy of a Mythic I already own. So that's fine. We do have a Savage Smash. I like that. Burning Tree Vandal. I am looking for 3 mana creatures here. That's why I have a very mediocre one, the Sylvan Brush Strider. Definitely not taking Wrecking Beast. It's just a lot of mana. It's okay to run 1 or 2 at the very top end of your curve to just slap out there in the late game, try to poke your opponent for the final bit of damage, but it's not something you want to take highly because you don't want to have a deck with just a stack of them, unless you've specifically drafted multiple things like Incubation Druid, like multiple good ramp cards. I think I'll take another Savage Smash. I don't expect to see a ton of removal in Gruul, so I think we have to just pick it up when we see it. This pack is not great. Just a Caretaker, I guess? That's something I'd probably want to end up cutting, because you have to tap 2 of your creatures to get a mana out of this. You have to tap the Caretaker and another creature. It's definitely not the greatest. Could take Aeromunculus and just start having a backup plan of being Simic splashing Gruul. Yeah, I really don't like Caretaker that much, so I'm actually going to take Aeromunculus there. Again, for the reason that maybe I end up Simic splashing Gruul. I can't say splashing Gruul because Gruul Smash is just like so ingrained in my brain, all of the terminology. So, Zertog Goblin is really good for its mana cost, like a 2-mana 3/3 or a 2-mana 2/2 haste. Like, that's really spicy, but I think I'm just going to take the Frenzied Erranks here because I already have a decent stack of 2-mana stuff, and the Erranks is also really good for its mana cost, up at 4 mana. This is also a 2-mana card. Yeah, I'm going to take the Erranks. And then another Rubblebolt Recluse, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of the Wayfinder. It does let you pick a creature or land from the top 4 and put it on top of your library, but since it's putting it on the top of your library instead of into your hand, it's just card filtering, not card advantage or anything. And then just 1 toughness on a 2-mana card is not something I'm a huge fan of when Orzhov has all of the 1/1 tokens in the world. So I'm going to take the Rubblebolt Recluse. And taking it over Smeltwort Ignis, because Smeltwort Ignis is okay in a really aggressive deck, so I mainly just play that in Rakdos sometimes. Definitely not very often in Gruul. I don't love this pack. I could take a Blood Crypt in case I end up splashing Rakdos stuff, and that would be some more gems, no matter what happens. That seems okay. I think I like that enough over the Footlight Fiend just for the possibility that I open, like, Rakdos himself in the final pack. That would be something I'd like to do. Gates Ablaze. Well, I've got 1 gate right now. I don't think that's a thing I'll be doing. However, I would only be taking it over Gore Clan Wrecker, and I do have 3 4-mana cards already. I'm going to throw that in the sideboard, but I don't think I'll end up playing it. Another Mirror March. We could be the double Mirror March deck. That's super cute. Well, we're getting pretty cut out of Gruul, but I'm not that worried, because we already have like some spicy stuff in our deck, so I think we're okay to miss on pack 2 as long as pack 3 works out for us. Now we're scooping up those Vandals. I like that. And you got to think, if we're missing, if we're getting nothing out of this pack, that means the people to our right are really getting nothing out of this pack. So I feel that the people on our right are almost definitely going to be passing up some Gruul stuff for us. Because I don't see how they could still be Gruul at this point. Alright, so if we're cutting the Simic out, we need 5 playables out of this last pack. We'd ideally want more than 5 playables because we want to be able to cut a couple pump spells like these Gift of Strengths and like the Brush Strider and stuff like that. We definitely want to make some cuts here. So ideally, we get a lot of great cards out of this last pack, but I don't think that'll happen. We'll probably just get a decent amount. I guess I could splash in Rakdos. I actually have 2 different ways to get black mana out of my mountains. So I could splash and like get the point right now, which is cute. We have Bullwreck Clan Crusher. This card's okay if you have a ton of +1/+1 counter stuff, but it is generally a little bit slow. even when you have all this energy for it. And we don't have a ton. It's best with like Soroform Hybrid because that'll have 4 counters to start throwing at things. We've got that. I suppose we have 2 Evolve, 2 Riot, 4 Riot, 5 Riot. We do have a lot of synergy to go with it, but I think I'm still leaning towards the Skewer the Critics over it. It's just pretty slow. And Skewer the Critics is very fast. I'm going to take the Skewer. It also might wheel because it is a Gruul card. Instead of just a mono-colored card, there's no way in the universe that Skewer the Critics will wheel. Here we'll definitely take another Erynx. It's just the best creature at its mana cost. 4 mana, 4/4 trample with a pump ability. Rumbling Ruin is kind of fun, but a 6 mana, 6/6 that can just get chump blocked for the rest of the game is usually not the greatest. You really want the Enter the Battlefield ability to do a lot for this card to be very playable in your deck, and even then it's pretty expensive. I could try Amplifier, that'd be fun, but there's another Skewer the Critics. Amplifier is another card like Mirror March that it's not exactly good on average, but it's definitely fun. It's very interesting. I'm just gonna roll with the Skewer the Critics again. Another Savage Smash, and that's the only thing in our guild. It's that or a Footlight Fiend, just the little 1/1 that does stuff when it dies. I don't love Footlight Fiend in Gruul for the same reason that I don't love the Blade Whirler or whatever. And that's because those cards are really good with Blade Brand and just okay to mediocre without it. So I think those cards are great in Rakdos, but in Gruul they're just okay to medium. This is actually kind of a hard choice. There's another Rubblebelt Recluse that I love, another Colossus, which is really efficient pump spell, and then Biogenic Upgrade, which is really good pump spell at the top end of your curve. This can just kill your opponent out of nowhere with the amount of counters it's throwing on stuff. I'm just going to take another early card there, go for a more aggressive curve in this deck. Just slam a bunch of cards out. Because with triple Savage Smash, I really want to be going like 2-drop into 3-drop. So I'm already trying to go for kind of a low curve. For the same reason, I'm going to pick up the 2 mana decent Gruul creature over the 3 mana one here. Taking the Clan Guild Mage to go with our triple Savage Smash. We've only got 3 creatures at 3 mana right now. I can use another Burning Tree Vandal. That'll be our 4th, and I don't really want to play Brush Strider, so could even just be our 3rd, and now Brush Strider is gone. Alright, Rubblebelt Recluse, get in here. I love me an Ogre Berserker. Could you imagine if every... we did wheel the Bulrak Clan Crusher. Well, that feels nice. I'll definitely run it. Could you imagine if every Ravnica Allegiance draft we did, I just end up in Gruul? At least every video. I have done a lot of drafts off recording, because I like to draft just while I'm watching YouTube or Netflix or anything like that. And I'll have something to show you when we hit our first game, that's for sure. But yeah, I've definitely drafted guilds other than Gruul, I promise. I promise you. Alright, so we're at 25 cards. I could cut... I have double Colossus, which is just a way better pump on the aggressive than Gift of Strength is. Gift of Strength is better on the defensive, though. But I think I'm going to cut the Gift. So this would be 23 non-lands, because we have the 1 Gruul Guildgate as a land in here. Territorial Boar I might actually play. So I'll throw that in here, too. We'll decide on our cuts later. Definitely not going to play a Feral Maka at this point because we've got enough 2/2s that actually do something. I'm not going to play any of these. Oh, nice. Really late Gruul Guildgate, so we can have just double mana fixing now. Very nice. I like that. Alright, so this is a Gruul deck basically without any like bombs and stuff. We're just going to be doing basic aggro stuff with a decent curve, I suppose. First things first, as always, turn off these parallax card styles. Sort by our mana cost, separate our creatures out. I think I'm keeping all of my non-creature spells for sure. Kind of think I have to definitely keep all my 2-drops, because that's 5 of them. Maybe I cut like 1 runner, 1 recluse, and then I need to make 1 more cut here. Do I just cut a second Rubble Belt runner? It's good against Orzhov, but other than that, it's just a 3-mana 3/3 against most decks. I could also cut a land. How's my curve looking on here? Average 3.3 mana cost. I don't cut lands very often, so I don't actually know the math on when you should be cutting lands. With triple Burning Tree Vandal, I'm actually leaning towards just keeping 17 lands, because then even if I'm getting flooded, I have 3 different cards that let me just discard those lands to actually draw into something else. I also have Clan Guildmage that wants me to have extra lands that I'm okay with trading off as 4/4s. Yeah, I think this is a fine deck for 17 lands. I just don't know what the final cut is. I don't want to cut any of my 2-mana creatures just for curve reasons, even though like a Gravelhide Goblin or a Territorial Boar would be my most mediocre stuff, because I only have like 5 cards that trigger the Boar, and the Goblin is it's just a 2/1 when I'm not pumping it. I think maybe I cut one of the Beastmasters, but I actually kind of like sending out a Beastmaster with haste in this deck. Just doing the pump, getting in there. Bullrack Clan Crusher is definitely the slowest card in the whole deck, but can get a lot of value in the right board state. I feel like this card doesn't work quite as well as they intended because of how popular decks with very few creatures ended up being, because any Gates decks tend to only have like Gate Colossus and Gatebreaker Ram, and just no small creatures, so this just doesn't do anything against those decks. It can throw damage at their face, but it can't kill Gate Colossi or Gatebreaker Rams, and then also Clear the Mind decks. This yeah, you're not shooting anything with this for that. It's just a 5-mana 4/4 there, basically. I'm gonna leave it in. It feels so wrong to cut that, but I don't know. I'm gonna cut the Rubble Belt runner, and then we just have kind of a weird curve here with only 3 cards at 3 mana. But I suppose lots of games we could focus on just Savage Smashing on turn 3, just get rid of their first blocker immediately. So we can get in there, try to get an early win, sneaking in our final damage with Colossus for trample on something big, like Colossus on Rubble Belt Recluse for a 10 power trampler. That could be quite fun. Alright, so I am gonna keep this as my deck. Unfortunately, my sleeves stopped working. They glitched out. Oh, and here's the thing I was going to show you. In my off-screen drafts, I actually hit Mythic for the first time ever, which was super hype. I actually hit Mythic with an Azorius Clear the Mind deck that went 7/2. It was grimy. That is that's definitely one of those strategies that makes me feel a little scummy every time I do it. This is a pretty awkward hand, but it's definitely not worth the mulligan. We've got 3 mana, we've got both our colors. We just don't have any of our 2-drops to curve into. Nothing at 4 mana either. The curve is pretty wonky here, but I'm definitely going to keep it. There's a Savage Smash. Not bad at all. Opponent is on Orzhov, starting with the Plague Whites, which gives blocking creatures -1/-1. Got 4 mana in hand now. I only need to draw 1 more land to know that I can hit my Rebel Belt Recluse. And there's another Plague White. Those things are going to be really annoying. The only way I trade with one on blocks is if I throw a counter on, so I think I just play Vandal and throw a counter on. I still don't really want to trade on blocks, but I'm also not trying to draw any cards here. I'm not trying to discard any of this stuff. This is starting to get to the point where I'm in a position where I'm definitely going to take the trade there, but I may actually want to haste out a Vandal and discard like Colossus, because that card's best on the aggressive, and I'm definitely on the defensive now. Also, if I haste out, yeah, I like that idea a lot. I'm going to haste out this Vandal. If they don't block, that gives me Skewer the Critics mana. If they do block, I'm getting the Hazda Officer out of the way, and Collision Colossus just isn't going to help me this game unless they play a flyer, because I'm very much on the defensive here. I just want all these creatures to get out and trade. No blocks, so we can Skewer. Just hit the highest power creature. Don't have a great way to block Plague White now, but I have Savage Smash to punch it. Opponent has dropped down an Orzhov Locket and an Imperious Oligarch. Pretty annoying. We have our 5th land, thanks to the Vandal. And now, Rebel Belt Recluse or Bolarak Clan Crusher. I'm just going to play the Rebel Belt Recluse. If they have a Blade Brand, they have a Blade Brand. But I am going to block if they attack here, probably. They've drawn 2 cards off of their Orzhov Locket. And another Imperious Oligarch. Well, they've got blockers for the Recluse, and now I've got a second Recluse to send in. Sure. We're definitely just trying to smash through their forces. So Blade Brand at any point would be very nice for them. Kaya's Wrath would be pretty insane, but they only have 1 more card in hand, so if they draw into that, then they'll be left with just a 1/1 Spirit on board and the 1 backup card. Could smash something. I don't think I need to. I'm going to keep all my mana so I can still send in here. I don't really want to send in with both, though, because then I don't have great blocks for the Plague White. If I don't want to send in with both, I think I have to spend my mana now. Because the Recluse attacks if able. And it would be able to if I have 2 mana up, right? I don't actually know how that interaction works. Maybe I just drop Clan Crusher and then the Recluses just don't come in this turn. I know for sure they can't attack if I don't have the mana to do it, but I don't know if I'm forced to pay the 2 mana and send them in because of their abilities. Or if I can choose to not pay the 2, and then because I didn't pay the 2, they can't attack, so the restriction doesn't happen. I don't know. That's an interesting one. There's a Consign to the Pit on one of my Recluses, doing a couple damage to me. Alright, well that makes me feel like they're definitely not on like a Blade Brand plan here. Well, get in there, Recluse. I suppose it trades off with an Oligarch and a Spirits, and then they have 2 flyers after that. But then those are out of the way. That seems fine. So down to like just a Plague White. I probably should have sent in with the 4/4 as well, I think. Definitely playing Gravelhide Goblin. May even want to Savage Smash one of their flyers, but I don't think I'm there yet. I'm going to start holding on to lands, because I think I might actually send in a Burning Tree Vandal next turn, and if it trades with something, that's fine. I suppose if I play 1 more land out, I have enough mana to pump my Gravelhide Goblin twice. It's a Blade Juggler, drawing a card for our opponent. There's 2 mana. Is this a dead Revels? Looks like it. I hate to see that. Picking up 2 Oligarchs. Orzhov is annoying. So that is multiple more blockers now. So I'm just going to start dying to these flyers. And I'm again in a position where I don't get to attack well with the Vandal, because, like, who cares if I trade with Oligarch? They want to trade with it anyway. They want to get those 1/1 flyers out here. It's tremendously irritating. Alright, I don't think I'm going to draw into... well, you know, let's just send everything in here. I don't think I'm going to draw into any +1/+1 counter stuff, so this Clan Crusher's ability is just never going to happen this game. So let's just send everything in. Double block on the Clan Crusher. I like that a lot, actually. I like being able to kill both of those here. I've got the mana to definitely do that. So I've got a Gravelhide Goblin versus 3 flyers. I'm taking 3 a turn, so I go to 5, I go to 2, and then I die. And I'm hitting them for 6 a turn if they don't leave up a blocker. But they've got an Oligarch, so that is 1 blocker. And there is a Death Toucher. I can't even Savage Smash that because the Death Toucher will deal damage to my creature. That is going to be game. Yeah, there's just nothing I can do here. Unless I have a card in my deck that I forgot about that does like 13 damage as a sorcery, because I can definitely survive 1 more turn. But that's it. Do I get rid of 1 flyer and make it take 3 turns to die from those? But then they can just go wide around my creatures. I think I'm still just going to do that. It doesn't really matter here. I know what's in my deck, and I know that I don't have any outs at this point. They have a Grotesque Demise as well. She's brutal. This is like the matchup where the one of Daggercaster would be very helpful to just clear out those flyers. Well, not a great start. Not a great start at all. But it definitely happens. I can't think back on anything that any way that I played that was like objectively super wrong, but of course hindsight is always 20/20. It's a lot easier just watching back on the video to be like, oh, there we go. But I don't think I had a great chance there. Opponent just had some good Orzhov value, just classic stuff. Trading off with Afterlife creatures, bringing it back with Dead Revels. Poking in the skies for the final bits of damage. This is very keepable. Hybrid into turn 3 Savage Smash. Erink's coming up turn 4. Opponent does mulligan down to 6, but they are on the draw, so that's not so bad. Alright, well now I have a turn 3 Burning Tree Vandal if they don't play a creature, and they do not. I also have Incubation Druid. That will give me enough mana to confirm that I'm casting Frenzied Erink's next turn. I think I still want to just play the Vandal. With double Savage Smash, I could just be on that plan to win this game. Actually going to discard this Clan Crusher. Trying to hit a land. Turns into an Erynx, which is fine. Frenzied Erynx is actually better than Bullrat Clan Crusher, I feel. At least in this position, for sure. And in this deck in general. Unfortunately, it looks like our opponent is going to just get mana screwed here. There's an argument for just hasting out an Erynx, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Discarding the Savage Smash over the Scorchmark, because I'll have enough mana if I draw another basic land to cast both Savage Smash and Scorchmark in one turn. Just in case something absolutely insane happens here, but I don't see it happening. I actually really like that I kept the Scorchmark here, because now I can do this and they don't gain life, putting them at well over lethal here. Probably, yeah, it would still be lethal if it was just a Savage Smash instead of the Scorchmark, but it's still nice to just shut off the lifelink. So 1 win and 1 loss. That win was definitely not exactly earned. It was an unfortunate draw for our opponent. They had to take a mulligan and then still got stuck on 1 color of mana. Stuck on 2 lands for a little while. But that is one of the ways that we sort of built this deck with the curve, is to try to just get out there aggressively with a good curve that can shut off any of their blockers with, as we saw in that game, multiple Savage Smashes and the Scorchmark. It just turns out that because our opponent also had a pretty poor draw, we only needed the 1 Scorchmark all game. But I feel if they didn't have a ton of like afterlife creatures in their deck, I think we could have beaten a decent hand there. Just Savage Smash every time they play something. I suppose we'll never know. All right. So one of the things I do like about being mythic is not actually a thing that matters right now, but I like that I'm going to be mythic going into Call Time, like when Call Time releases. That way, like the moment the set releases, I'll be drafting with, or I'll be playing against, at the very least, the best of the best at Limited. So I can really see what the great drafters come up with the format. I feel like that'll help me get a really good taste for all of the best archetypes and stuff very early on. So I like that a lot. So I'm offering to trade with the Rubble Belt Runner because I'm going to play a 4/4 Trample here, and then I can keep Savage Smash for a bigger creature from them. We assume that they're Gruul because they play Rubble Belt Runner with 2 Forests and a Gateway Plaza. With Gateway Plaza, they don't technically have to be Gruul. They could be like 4 color or something crazy, even 5. But I assume they're Gruul, and against a Gruul deck, we're going to want these Savage Smashes to kill larger things than that 3/3. Well, there's just a couple small creatures. If I tack in with the Erynx this turn, I trade with both of them, but I don't really want to lose my Erynx. If I play a single Savage Smash, I know Erynx will survive and get in for a decent amount of damage, get in for 6. Then I'm not playing another creature out, so I've only got the 1 creature out if they play a single removal spell. I think I'm just going to play the Beastmaster and pass here, because I don't love trading for both of those, and I also don't love blowing a Savage Smash right now. Just get some more stuff on this board. Savage Smash is also really good with Beastmaster. Never mind. Beastmaster is very gone. Well, my only creature is the Frenzied Erynx now, so I need to make sure this survives. Let's go ahead and kill their best creature, but we can't attack this turn because it's taken 4 damage, so it'll trade with either of those now. With a Gateway Plaza as well from our opponent, they could start giving that creeper flying, and just flying over there. So if they spend 4 mana, they can give that Gravelhide Goblin +2/+2 and trade up into my Frenzied Erynx. Don't like that. There's a Rubble Belt Runner from our opponent. Really don't like these draws. At this point, I'm just going to hold on to the lands in case I top deck another one of the Burning Tree Vandals. I can just give it haste, discard one of these, draw something fresh, trade off with one of their 2/1s. The race is on. What do they have now? See what they drew. A Savage Smash of their own. Trading off with my Errangs. My Errangs is dead. We are all in on top decks. And Burning Tree Vandal gives us another draw. Even if I put the counter on the Vandal, I guess if I put the counter on the Vandal, their Gravelhide Goblin blocks as a 4/3 if they spend the mana into it. So if I put the counter on, my Vandal will still trade with the Goblin even if they spend mana. And if I don't put the counter on, then a 4/3 just stonewalls it. I think I really want to draw a card right now. This might be greedy, but I'm just going to give haste and draw a card immediately. And then I know I can draw a card next turn as well. Oh my god. I can draw a card next turn as well if they don't immediately just shoot my Vandal with a removal spell. Oh my god. Well, I'm glad I gave it haste because I'm in a position where I need to draw something great immediately. So, if I just block... If I choose to block their 8/7 with my Burning Tree Vandal, I'll survive next turn, but where does that get me? That gets me to drawing the next card of my deck and seeing if the next card in my deck is an answer. I'm already going to draw the next card of my deck if I attack with Burning Tree Vandal here, so I'm just going to attack with Burning Tree Vandal here. Plan Crusher does not quite get there, does it? No, I need one more mana, but even then I only have 6 power to smash into the Goblin. So we definitely have to chump block. There's the Scorch Mark for Burning Tree Vandal. It is really not looking good. And that does nothing for us. We don't have a chump blocker for the 8/7. Don't have anything to smash with. That is game. There's that biogenic upgrade. We did pass one of those up, but it is a powerful card, but it's definitely a late game play. Quite good in the Gruul Mirror because all of the removal is damage based. But I think that's pretty much it, because against Azorius, Azorius has ways to shut off the ability to attack or block. It has ways to put the card back into your hand so it loses all the counters. Against Rakdos and Orzhov, well, against Orzhov you just have tons of things that destroy things, and then against Rakdos you have a bunch of Death Touch. So that was definitely the matchup for the biogenic upgrade. Okay, I like this start a lot. We ramp into a turn 3 Frenzied Errangs. Opponent starts off with a Gateway Plaza. I've played against this opponent quite a bit. I've played against them probably 3 times, I think, and every time they were playing a Clear the Mind deck, so this will be interesting. If anybody wants to know the record, they beat me 2 times, I beat them once. As far as I remember, we could have played more than that, and I just hadn't recognized the name at the time. I'm going to go with the Rubble Belt Recluse here. I really like being able to Savage Smash next turn and get in for like 12. So they probably play like a big creature ramped out with the Gyre Engineer. We kill it with the Savage Smash, get in for 12. Could play 2 creatures this turn though. That would be definitely the worst for me. So they're holding up 3 mana, so they could have the instant speed return a creature to its owner's hand card for 3. I don't love that. That definitely makes Savage Smash pretty bad. They don't have enough mana to throw counters onto the Aeromunculus. That costs 4. So I think we can just attack in pretty freely. and then see what we want to do after that. I don't see a reason to riot something out. I mean, I could go for a really aggressive attack here, but I can also just do that next turn. I think we're definitely safe to just send in no blocks. Okay. So they do have... They have Slime Bind. Okay, that would also make Savage Smashing very bad if I tried to do it with the Airynx. Okay. Seems fine. They go down to 10. We play another Airynx, I think. Do I like that more than a Beastmaster? I think I do. Opponent's down to 10 now. And they just scoop them up. The Gruul fatties are too thick for too cheap. So they could have had... What would make a scoop there? Could have had like a really reactive hand. Simic does have some cards that are really, really powerful if you can get them out before your opponent does crazy stuff. Cards like Frilled Mystic and stuff like that, that's like a 3-2 flash and it counters something when it comes into play. That would be a card that's generally very good, but it would be really bad in that situation. I'm guessing they just had a pretty standard hand, just some creatures that were not going to be large enough to do much there. Trying to think if there's any board wipes in Simic. I don't think so, so I don't think there was a lot they could do there. Alright, so we're at 2 wins and 2 losses. I need to get 1 more win. Am I at 2 losses or just 1 loss? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I'm 2-2. Yeah, I lost against Gruul and I lost against Orzhov, so we are right on the razor's edge here of getting that nice average 3-3 run. Even at Mythic, that's fine with me. 3-3 or better is what I always want. 3-3 is very acceptable. Alright, Azorius Guildgate into Swamp is one of my least favorite things to ever see in this format. I like this format in general, but I do find Clear the Mind decks to be just like beating your head against the wall. Which is ironic because I went Mythic with Azorius Clear the Mind. But, you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Again, don't feel proud about it. So there's the Slime Bind on the Airynx. Could just throw counters onto my Incubation Druid now. I don't feel like any of these other creatures are that powerful, really. So yeah, I think I'll just adapt my Druid in their end step. Another Syndicate Messenger. Alright, so it looks like they're more just Esper stuff. Probably not Clear the Mind here. Alright, Collision Colossus is pretty cool. A 3-5 matches up quite well against the messengers, and I don't need more than 4 mana here, so we'll go ahead and just send in with the Druid. Do have the mana to give Frenzied Airynx +3/+0, which is cool. Alright, I like that I can just throw out the Vandal and hold up a Collision if I want to deal 6 damage to one of their flyers. I don't think I do. I think I'd rather just hold the Trample Pump spell. They don't even want to attack. Alright. Double Skewer's certainly nice, but I don't want to end up using it on these messengers because they're just going to spit stuff out. I'll send an Incubation Druid and Burning Tree Vandal. Now I can cast Colossus on Vandal, and then it's like... Actually, I can send an Airynx as well here to threaten the pump on it. It's not doing any blocking against flyers, so might as well. I'm actually going to... Well, no, I don't think I'm going to discard here. But yeah, I like using Colossus to kill a messenger over using Collision to kill a messenger. Well, if they're going to do that, I'll just pump then. But yeah, if they tried to do the trade with Vandal, doing Colossus to kill one would push in extra damage and kill one, whereas using Collision to kill one would have just killed one, not pushed in any damage or anything. Now I've got a land to discard to the Vandal. I like that a lot. Let's send in, discard it. I don't like that my opponent has double blue up now. They actually have triple blue up thanks to the Azorius Guild Gate. But let's see. Yep. Alright, so we still trade, and they're down to just a couple 1/1s. I get to drop out my Goblin and a Hybrid, hold up 2 Skewer the Critics. I can also just Skewer my opponent twice to the face, put him to 2 life. But I can do that at a later point once they're already at 6. Alright, Hybrid and Goblin. Get some scary creatures out here. Probably forces them to hold back their 1/1s to block. Clear the Mind. They are a Clear the Mind deck. Well, that is a thing. My apologies if the audio was a bit loud earlier. I just looked over at my sliders, and it's looking a little high there during all of that Simic gross sounds. Okay. Well, I get to pump Goblin, and then I don't trade. So I don't even have to spend a card here. They've got 1 card in hand, and it's whatever they just top decked off of, it's whatever they just top decked off of Clear the Mind. So literally, unless they drew a counterspell off the top, this is just lethal. And that looks like a no. So that's 3 wins and 2 losses now, so whatever happens, we've made it to the average record. This is a decent Gruul deck. This format's really weird to me. I never understand, like, when I look at my decks or during the draft, how the deck's gonna do. Because the Azorius deck that I drafted, that I went 7-2 with, I thought it was, like, the worst deck that I drafted so far. Because it just had, like, no creatures, for the most part. In the early game, it was just a really slow start, just a couple summary judgments to try to defend itself, and it just had like a bunch of lockets and 6-drops. So, you can make it to Mythic in a set that you don't even really know what you're doing in. So, today I learned, and I spread that information to all of you. I am still generally having a decent amount of fun in this set. I don't know. I feel like it's a little weird, though. I've got a little bit of a hot take on this format. Not like a huge one, but most people say that Ravnica Allegiance is like a way better draft format than Guilds of Ravnica, at least like most pros and stuff that I've heard of. Limited resources, Ben Stark. Just like all over the general discord among everybody. Discourse, not Discord. Oh my god. That app has ruined my life. Yeah, most people say that Ravnica Allegiance is a lot better than Guilds of Ravnica because you have all of the Gruuls you have all of the guilds that you can draft, and you also have the alternate strategies you can do of Clear the Mind decks, you can do Gates decks and stuff, but my hot take is I actually find Guilds of Ravnica a lot more fun because I feel like the cool decks, the quote-unquote cool decks that you can draft in this, the Gates deck and the Clear the Mind decks, are just incredibly unfun to play against, in my opinion. So it just leads to a worse user experience during the games themselves. Also, all the Blade Brand shenanigans and Orzhov just being chump block and get more tokens value stuff. I don't know. I think the gameplay of this format can be just have a lot of annoying stuff, in my opinion. That being said, it's still Ravnica. It's still cool. It's got Gruul in it, so that's got to be something big. It's got to give it some brownie points. Alright, well, I want this land to play my Recluses, but I don't know what to do other than that because of that Saratok. I don't think I attack in here, but I also don't think I can just hold up Colossus. If I just play Burning Tree Vandal, I can double block something and only lose one of them. If my opponent doesn't have a Savage Smash or something, if they do have a Savage Smash or something, I am in a pretty bad spot. Scorch Mark would actually be completely bad for me. That would be like the end of the game. If I attempt to double block Enraged Ceratok and they respond with a Scorch Mark on Burning Tree Vandal, I think I'm pretty handedly losing. Well, I guess even then, if they don't get any blue mana, the Recluses might be enough to stabilize. But that would be a massive swing in my opponent's favor. Well, I don't know what they're thinking about here. They've got a lot of time to do so. They haven't hit the hourglass yet, and when they do, they'll have a whole new, fresh, gigantic rope. Savage Smash for a bad time for all. Well, Vandal trades for Creeper with or without the Smash on it, so I may as well trade instead of taking 10 to the face and being at 2 life here, because then if they just play a blue source, I die. So now we drop Rebel Belt Recluse. We hope that it's enough to block the Enraged Ceratok. Even if they have another Savage Smash, that would just be a trade. Gruul Beastmaster as a 3/3. I could Savage Smash here. I can actually Savage Smash and Colossus if I want to get in for 12. I don't think that I Savage Smash here because I have Colossus. If they go for the double block, that's huge. If not, I am going to take some beefy damage. But I can definitely crack back for lethal if they send in both as attackers and don't have another blocker. So if they didn't draw another blocker or a pump spell or a removal spell, I don't think they send in with both here. If they drew a pump spell, they just pump the Beastmaster, send with both, and then Ceratok is lethal. Alright, well this is bad. Burning Tree Vandal with haste. So I am forced to trade with the Ceratok, or I die. So yeah, that is the only legal block, so we do it. Well, the only non-lethal block for me. I've got exactly 12 damage with the Savage Smash, so that'll be a fun time for myself and not for my opponent. This is not fair. This is just exactsies. Sometimes you just have it. That's rough. That's rough. Oh my god. But I'll just get right into the top 100 mythics. First time ever. Above number 100 now. Oh my god. That's absolutely insane to me. Absolutely insane. But when you're playing the set, if you're playing a bunch of limited early enough in the month, I think that's when you can really sneak into Mythic. By the end of the month, like, there's more and more people. I'll probably become just a percentage at that point. But right now, because I've just played so much limited in such a short amount of time, I'm just shooting way up there, which is really cool. Top 100 Mythic. It just blows my mind. The problem is now I'm going to play against only really good players. But I feel like everybody in general who plays limited on Arena, if they're like above gold, there is plenty of very skilled players all around. I like this hand. I don't like going against Orzhov, especially with little Death Touchers. That is one of the least fun matchups for this deck. Because they can just death touch away our creatures no matter how big they are. But they're little stupid panther things. Alright, little stupid panther thing, what are you going to do? Oh, they're just going to play an oligarch. Okay. Well, I get to smash and send in here, because I'm not playing a creature, so it's Skewer the Critics or Savage Smash, or don't play anything. So I smash, and then I get to send in. I suppose I don't because of the Afterlife. So if I smashed... maybe I should have just smashed the Panther. Probably should have just smashed the Panther, because then I could actually attack this turn. Get that 4 damage in. And then I don't have to worry about the Death Touch later. I could send in, and then I don't have to worry about the Death Touch later, and I kill the Flyer, potentially. I love that. That almost went really poorly for me. But I basically just Savage Smashed both creatures. I guess they have Dead Revel, and they want to bring 2 things back here. Maybe they're kind of stuck on mana here. Yeah, Dead Revels. That makes a lot of sense why that block happened then, because then essentially it just didn't happen. This all definitely makes my smashing the 2-1 a lot less embarrassing, because the same thing happened that would have happened either way. Alright, so I'm smashing the Death Touch out of the way so they don't have lethal on my 6/5 and stuff like that. Ooh, they just drop Ill-Gotten Inheritance. Not putting a creature out on this board means I get to bash in. Get to play an Erranx as well. Could just bash in for 5 if I give haste. I like that. Let's go haste here. So I've got a pump spell backup for anything that doesn't have Death Touch. And I've got a Skewer here. I think we really just want to push in, try and outrace the life gain they're getting from Ill-Gotten Inheritance. Just really crack in. I like having enough mana for the Rubble Belt Recluse, but I highly doubt I'll be playing it this turn because I'm expecting some blocks. So I think we want to Colossus on the Erranx. And then we get rid of Oligarch. They just have 2 1/1 flyers. I am trampling over for 2 with the Erranx right now, so if I Colossus on the hybrid, I trample over for 5 there. That's 7 damage, put him down to 5. 5 life, I'm sitting with the Sora Form hybrid on the board. I think the trample on the Frenzied Erranx is really important, and it has trample forever. So we want to keep the one that can always trample. And we put him down to 6 instead of 5, though. We're not going to skewer anything. Save the skewer just in case they play another Twilight Panther or something. But now they can't really attack well, because if I get 1 more mana, I can pump the Erranx for a 6/3 trample, which should be very threatening. Yeah, so they keep a blocker. There's my 6 mana I can pump up at any point. But also, if they just block with the 1/1, I am trampling over. That gives me Skewer the Critics mana. And I can Skewer and Rubble Belt Recluse. So I'm trampling for 2. I could trample for 5 if I pay for Erranx, but then I don't have Skewer mana here. I think I'll just hit for 2, put him down to 5, play Recluse. Then I'm just gonna hold on to the Skewer. I still like holding it up for a really scary blocker or something. And they just concede, they scoop them up. The creatures are too big, and I'm Mythic 57, what's happening? Oh my god. Oh my god. This is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I feel like maybe I should look back on that last Gruul deck that I had, but I feel like this one's generally looked a little bit worse to me, but whatever. I paid 1,500 gems to play in this draft, and now we're getting 1,600 gems out of it in a couple packs. And we're at number 50-something Mythic. It is a good day. It is a good day today. I'll absolutely take this. I was actually a little disappointed when I booted up Arena ready to record today's video, and I saw that Omniscience draft was gone, because I knew it didn't leave until sometime this morning, so it's like, maybe if I get on quick enough, I can just do a fourth one of those, and then I don't have to, like, jump into the Mythic-rated limited games. But because this is my first draft since I became Mythic, it's actually kind of nice to get it out of the way, because I was really nervous about it, and as someone who just hit Mythic for the first time, now that I'm playing my first draft once I've hit Mythic, a lot of the fear and like allure of it is wearing off, and it's just like, I'm just playing against other people that love drafting a lot and have done a bunch of drafts. That's literally it. It's not like I'm playing against literally nothing but like Paulo Vitor, Dama de Rosas or anything. It's like we are just limited enthusiasts. They're just Magic players like you and I. Now that I am a Mythic, I can say Mythics are not that scary. Because I'm not that scary. I kind of want to smash the Aeromunculus, but I can't smash it and get an attack in, which feels bad. Maybe I just play a 2-1 here. They can like double adapt with this Biomancer's Familiar thing. It requires 2 to adapt. They can do it twice if they play an island. That's insane. That's pretty spooky. You know, I can also Savage Smash, and then if they want to trade my boar for the Familiar, that's fine. One of the important things to think about when you're attacking with your Savage Smash creatures is it's not like I'm offering a trade with my 4-4 into their 2-2. I'm offering a trade of my 2-2 into their 2-2. It just happens to be a 4-4 this turn. The way I do most of these drafts and the thought process and stuff is just stream of consciousness stuff. So just keep in mind that every time that I'm reminding you all of something like that, I'm also reminding myself, because so many times I've Savage Smashed something. I think even in this video, I've like Savage Smashed something, but like I don't want to trade my 4-4 into their 2-2, but it's like it's only a 4-4 because I gave it +2/+2 till end of turn, so it's just trading a 2-2 for a 2-2. We're gonna throw a counter on the Beastmaster and pass turn. Ready to send in for like a lot next turn. A 5-2 Territorial Boar and a 3-3 Beastmaster. See how that goes. Ceratok is not going to get blocked. We're definitely not chumping. We don't have any dead rebels in this deck. In Gruul. Sharktocrab. Well, I want to kill that really badly, so badly in fact, that I'm just going to send both in here and then skewer the critics if they block. Then they're left with an enraged Ceratok, and I have no creatures left if they trade the Territorial Boar. That I do not love. I don't love having no creatures on this board, but if I don't, like, send in the double attack... They need both Sharktocrab and Biomancer's Familiar on the board for it to be a really scary combo. So I'm just going to attack here, because I feel like they might not take the trade of Territorial Boar for Biomancer's Familiar. If they don't take that trade, that's really good for me, because then I actually get to keep a creature on this board. I get to skewer the critics for 1 instead of 3. Oh, they're just not going to block at all. Okay, well, then I can't skewer the critics the Sharktocrab. Don't like that. But now I get to play my Erix. And I'm definitely going to kill Biomancer's Familiar. I didn't play the Erix till main phase 2 because I wanted to make sure that I had enough mana to skewer the critics, even if they did the double block. Because if I played Erix turn 1 and then sent that attack in and they did like a double block, then I wouldn't be able to skewer anything and Sharktocrab would just live. I suppose if I did that first, though, that does buff Boar's toughness up to 3, so then they almost definitely don't block with the Familiar. So that may have been better. I just really, really, really wanted Sharktocrab to block my Gruul Beastmaster. Alright, so they tap down Frenzied Erix. Doesn't untap next turn. And they still have the mana to do their tap down with their Sharktocrab. We have hit a land. So I can play... Oops. Can play a goblin with enough mana to pump it. And then on board here, I can't really send in. Beastmaster just dies without trading. Yeah, that seems bad. They just block Beastmaster with the Ceratok, maybe even just take 5, but alternatively they trade the Boar for the Chillbringer. I don't love this. These tap-down effects are definitely putting in some work against my beefy creatures. I've got another one. Finger on the trigger with Shark to Crab. They do adapt, tapping something down. Turning Shark to Crab into a 5/5. They tap down the Beastmaster and get aggressive here, it looks like. Nope, they just tap down the Beastmaster, okay. Figured he'd just re-tap the Airings, but I guess Beastmaster's plus ability is pretty threatening as well. Well, if I send in Airings, it trades with Enraged Ceratok and I deal 3 damage to our opponents. Kind of like that. If I send in with all 3, what are their best blocks? If they block the Airings with the Ceratok and the Shark to Crab blocks the Gravelhide Goblin, they take 2, 3, 4, 5. They go to 3 life. I have 1 more Skewer in this deck. I believe I have 2. So I could top deck a Skewer the critics for lethal. But that would be like the only out that plays to. I think I just attack with the Airings. And wait for a good Beastmaster attack the next turn. Maybe I even just wait now. So I can throw the power onto a trample creature. I don't actually know here. I think I'm going to send in the Airings. I get in a couple damage, get rid of one of their beefy creatures. Oh, actually trading up into the Shark to Crab. Okay. Oh my god, I just got jebaited. I actually died to Enraged Ceratok's ability now. That's so embarrassing. Oh no! Alright, well... the ideal play was to just not attack there. But in that position, I feel like I still just lose. Because if I don't attack, I just take 3 from the flyer. I then have to immediately win the next turn instead. Or I die to like Applied Biomancy or anything like that. That was super embarrassing. I found the wrong move and I went for it. Definitely happens, but absolutely gonna be super happy with the 5-win run there. I will 100% take it, and I will scoop up these packs. As I said before, I am not the greatest limited player, and I do not claim to be. So, if you're watching my videos, you better get ready for stuff like that to happen. But, anyways, now that we're at the end here, and we're opening up our packs of many gems, I would like to thank you all, as always, for watching another video on the channel. If you want to see more of this stuff, just stick around, like, comment, subscribe, all of the goodies, and I will see you all again tomorrow.